Jallum, you want to start here?
Well, Jallum, part of the main event for SCB in January. Well, it's not much to say really, just the one white collar. That's what all I've done. I've probably had, I don't even know how many weeks of training I've had in total, but I was training for another one the 19th of November, I think, but then that fell through. So now the next one is January against my man Dan, who I'm not going to shit talk because he's actually really nice. And why would I shit talk him when he's experienced? The fact of the matter is, like, people are going to be like, oh, but some people like were injured. The issue with the Leo thing, we couldn't meet on the weight, like, specifically, but I'm just bulking like shit now because it's obviously try and make it less thingy for Dan, because Dan, you're losing.
Trying to catch up, right?
Yeah. I'm losing.
Another half of the main event here. We got Dan. So Dan, introduce you not just to the audience, but to myself, man. Tell me a little bit about you.
And me.
Yeah, my name's Dan. I'm just a normal guy. I've got a job, got a wife, got kids. You know, I've been fighting a long time. I've had a few years off when I got married and had kids and all that. I got fat, so I've recently started getting back into training properly again. That's why I'm doing this MMA fight tomorrow. I've lost 16 kilos now in 9 weeks, so I'm aiming to lose another 13 by January. Look, just been hitting it hard, double training nearly every day. I'm looking forward to obviously meeting all you guys properly and all that. Looking forward to stepping in the ring with Jallum as well. I know he's had a fight or two in the past already, so you know it'll be a good step up for him. I don't mean that in a cocky way or anything. Like, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a lot older. He's got youth on his side. I've got experience. That's how it always is, isn't it, man? Youth versus experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I'm Weeks. I go by, people call me Mick Weeks. It's MC Weeks. I don't really care. Throw whatever nickname at me you want. Some people spell the name wrong and they'll do Weaks. I love it all, dude. Just, but basically, I'm like the Walmart Wade Plem. We have names both start with W's and whatnot. So, it'll be perfect, man. We'll get in here. We're going to talk a little bit about these fights. But to start off, I want to hear, Dan, you got a fight tomorrow. You just mentioned it a little bit. Tell me something about that.
Yeah, I've got the matchup. I posted it on Twitter. I think it was yesterday or the day before, the photos of me and the guy who's stepping in the cage on me tomorrow. Yeah, it should be fun. To be fair, he's a bit taller than me, but obviously I've got the size advantage. And I think in MMA, I think being shorter sometimes can help anyway with takedowns, especially single leg takedowns. Being shorter, it's always a bonus. To be fair, it's going to be live streamed tomorrow on my brother-in-law channel, Backwards Internet, as well. I'm not sure of the time of the fight just yet, but we'll get that out there tomorrow to try and get a rough time. So if you guys want to tune in and have a little look, see what's going on.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it goes without saying, Jallum will be watching that tomorrow. I think I'm going to tune in as well. I just want to see.
I've got to be careful. I've got to be careful. We don't double leg on me in the middle of the ring on January.
Well, I've got another fight in December too. I've got another boxing match on the 2nd of December as well. I've obviously got the one on the 7th of January.
Making me feel inferior here.
Best way to get it, mate. Honestly, the best thing you can do now at your age is spar, and have as many fights as you can.
Absolutely. And, Jallum, he's also got some experience under his belt. Jallum, you fought in front of 600 people. That's often why the community gasses you up so much. They say you're the guy, you're the one with experience. So, Dan, you're going up not just against Jallum in that ring, but you're going up, the word of a lot of people is going to be against you.
100%. Yeah. I'm used to that anyway. I'm always the villain for some reason. Now, weirdly
enough, with that in mind, we've been looking at all these people's predictions in the past few days. I think they're leading up to your event. They've been trying to drop their pre-predictions. Yep. Jallum, I've seen 90% of them say they don't favor Jallum in this. So, you would think, the underdog. I thought they're
looking at experience. They're going on experience, aren't they? Again, obviously, they know I've had a few more fights, blah, blah, blah. That means nothing, mate. Trust me. My first fight was against a guy who had 11 or 12 fights previously, and I knocked him out in 43 seconds. Experience sometimes doesn't mean anything, mate.
Absolutely, man. I mean, as far as, people are reading into this, like they're glad this is the main event. It's going to be some hard hitters at the end, and that's, what a way to be off the card,
I've always said, mate, if you step in the ring, right, and you lose the fight, as long as you know you've trained your hardest for the whole time up to that fight, then you don't leave a loser.
Absolutely.
Simple as that. As long as
And
you
let's
know
talk
yourself,
about-
you've done as much as you can.
Yeah, and let's talk about the card a little bit, right? This is an SCB event. Jallum, you've worked very hand in hand with SCB recently. Dan, how did SCB reach out to you and say, hey, you know, how would you like to get involved?
I actually reached out to Connor. I saw a post up about looking for fighters for the small boxing event in January. So I just messaged him saying, look, bro, I'm a fighter. I'm down to get on the event. I said, and he messaged back saying there's no more spaces left for the fights. And I was like, all right, no worries. I said, I'll promote you as much as I can on the Twitter and on the channel. It's a good thing that you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And then he messaged me. We was talking for a bit, and then he said that someone dropped out the fight with Jallum. They all want to step in, basically. And that was it. And he asked me if I wanted to be part of the team. And that's when he invited me into the group with you lovely lads.
And what was your first impression, right? SCB's little group, you know, that could just started out not too long ago. I mean, what do you think of the professionalism going into this? I mean, you've seen the fight posters, you've seen the promotion.
Whoever done them posters, was it Ghazi who done the posters? Was it?
Ghazi helps with some of the posts. We got a guy named
A
Leslie
point.
our Twitter.
A point.
A point.
Yeah, that's it. His editing skills and stuff on them posters.
Absolutely. My first impression of you actually was a picture. It was your little barbaric looking picture he had of you. It was amazing. And I was looking at it like, damn, that's who Jallum's going up against. Okay. You know, we got a main event.
It's a good fight, mate. We'll make it a good fight as well. Just obviously train hard, mate. I'm going to train hard. We've got to try and meet in the middle on the weight. Yeah, as long as we both train hard, we can put on a good event, mate. The main thing is obviously putting on a good show for the audience, and that are watching. We want to get people interested and stuff, and we want to build this SCB thing up.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Just first event. I mean, right here, this is a staple. This is the first event, first main card. That's you guys. You guys are pioneering the future of the SCB cards, and that's something in itself. I mean, Dan, you kind of just pretty much fell into this. I mean, that's got to feel amazing.
Yeah. No, it is. I appreciate, obviously, you guys being so welcoming as well, to be fair. Like, you all seem like really nice lads from what I've been, seeing in the Twitter group and all that. Look, and I'm looking forward to, obviously, trying to grow this to something big with all of you.
Absolutely. Now, Jallum, I want to ask you this first, and then I'll move to Dan here. The rest of the card, there's some people on the card. It's not a lot of names we've heard of before. Do you got anyone you want to talk about? Anybody you've looked into? And
there's definitely two, and they're fighting each other, which is kind of funny. Which is Logan Hallam, which is funny because it's like we don't think we're related in any sense of the form. But I'm cool with Logan. Logan's a good guy. He's a good boxer. He did a white collar. I think he's actually registered as an amateur. So I'm looking forward to what he does. And then we've got Finn from the team as well. He's fighting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, one of our own guys.
I know a few
SCB stuff.
I know a few others, like a bit, but not too much. I know the people from, I think it's the co-main. When it was me and Leo, they were interested in it being, I think we were discussing winners versus winners and stuff for the next one. But that's out of my head now, really, because it's down the man, isn't it? Like, I can't overlook down the man. It's you got to look what's in front of you, like, immediately.
So there's some other bigger guys on this undercard. I mean, overlooking is a word you just used. Do you imagine you'll take a peek at any of these guys post-fight and see if that's a potential future bout? You specifically, Dan, who, doesn't have really many community lined up fights right now, like Jallum might have?
Yeah, there's one big lad on the poster. He's in the bottom left-hand corner. His name evades me, like, but he's quite a big lad as well. To be fair, he looks like he'd be a nice matchup for me as well for future events.
And I say you specifically because if you don't know, you're kind of going up against what's becoming a super villain now. Jallum joined the community all smiles and giggles and everyone liked him, but now he's been gassed up over and over and over. Without his doing, basically his hype around his name has made him some enemies, and he's got people reaching out wanting to fight him in this community. A lot of them are across.
After our fight, mate, me and you train together, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. No, yeah, that's the thing. It's a lot of these people are from I know ages ago people are going to be bringing up, me and Dennis going back and forth. you look on the thing now between me and Dennis, we're absolutely fine. It was literally like a misunderstanding. I thought he was coming to the UK, so I thought we could set up the big like UK versus US, but
yeah.
obviously it didn't fall through because he couldn't come, and that's fair enough. Like I was a bit unreasonable. We both said we both overreacted, like when we were at each other. It's just egos, isn't it? In the end of the day,
adrenaline, egos.
Yeah,
and you want to hype. You do want to hype the fight up a little bit as well.
Yeah,
at the same.
But I think people were surprised when I piped up because usually I wasn't really as piping up as the way
you're known to be on the quiet side. You know, you've kind of just slid into the career. You had experience. You didn't have to raise your voice to solidify yourself, and people don't like that. You know, you got a community full of people who, you know, in order to make a name, they had to use their mouth, as Wade Plem said on the interview we did, where I've been bullying him for.
Yeah.
Sounds bad when you hear it out loud, but what that really means is ultimately you have to, you know, you've got to chime up a little bit, you know, and that's how it is. I mean, like Lesra. I mean, Lesra's reaching out, using his voice, you know, making people mad, and now he's got some fights ahead of him possibly.
Damn, I'm quite annoyed really because you're such a nice guy that I can't trust talk to you because I physically can't fake it. Like I can't.
That's the thing. We don't want to be fake, mate. We don't want to be fake.
No, yeah, we got to be real with it. Like absolutely. If you were someone that was more irritating and annoying, it'd be much easier.
It's more like
the thing is, one thing I don't think it helps though. It helps how I'm taking. It's not like if I was annoyed at you, I'd maybe think I'm going to run through you and like get really emotional. But since I like you, you seem dead nice. I'm like, well. Crap, he's probably quite good. You think about it more. Do you know what I mean? You think about if you like someone more.
Would you say the best you in that ring is going to be a cool, calm, collective you, or you know, no adrenaline, no nothing crazy, just
well, definitely better than before because I was going all like this from my first fight in front of 600 people because absolutely, can I swear?
I see Dan nodding. So you watched Jallum's fight, obviously.
No, I haven't seen it. Is there a video of that actually?
There is.
Yeah. I'll send it's linked on.
Send the link over.
You hear that? I'll help you out. Let me give you some footage to go off of, Dan. I got.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
Just absolute windmill.
It sounds to me like confidence from Jallum. If he's going to send you the footage you can analyze.
Yeah, I'm not in my head because a lot of people in their first fight. They go in there and they completely forget everything they've trained for, and they do start doing what he did.
Literally it. That's it.
Swinging wild bombs, and that loads of people do it. I did it myself. Look, and that's why I nodded my head because I completely understand what he's going through, and you see a lot of that, mate, in people's early fights and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
they tell us that at the beginning. To be fair, they were always like, "Oh, the best thing you can work on is your fitness straight away because that's the thing that'll come into especially early on."
Just skip every day. Just skip.
Yeah. That's what people always say, skipping. I'm always doing. Do you know what fell running is?
Oh, sorry.
Do you know what fell running is?
Nah.
Where imagine cross country, but it's just uphill. It's awful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but where I live, it's all more. When I'm not at uni anyway, which I'm not at uni now, it's all more. You know, like the Great North York Moors, so it's just hills. It's painful.
I live in Birmingham City. I live in Birmingham, mate, in a fucking city, look. So I ain't got none of that round there.
Absolute, completely different worlds, aren't there?
I can run up the stairs of a block of flats. That's about it.
Absolutely. So, guys, with any good face-to-face, you know, the love and the respect, we love it. But what people want to hear is some of the stuff that ultimately what they're coming to the face-to-face for. Jallum, I want to start with you. You're in that ring. Let's just put this into perspective. You came out on top of this fight. What's your future, man? I mean, where do you go from there? You know, you've got some people in this community who want to know what this fight means for your projected path forward. I mean, is there more SCB fights immediately you think you'd like to hop on? Dan, I'm going to ask you that same thing. I mean, with SCB cards, I mean, do you intend to stick around with these guys and invite some people to you, or are we going to see you hop on a plane and go to somebody else and make it happen?
Oh, yeah, I'll be happy to carry on, mate, with all SCB fights, and obviously I'll be doing my own fights in between as well, keeping fit and whatever else. But I'll use my other fights to promote SCB. My coach is actually a professional boxer,
and we'll absolutely here at SCB. I think we'd be more than glad to support you in the promotion to these other fights. It's what we're about. I think Jallum can agree there.
Yeah,
Jallum,
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
people like saying your name, my friend. What do you think? I mean, after this fight, where do you go?
Well, it's one of those things where it comes back to not overlooking Dan because I want to
Yeah, no,
through that first.
absolutely, man.
So there's two people. I'm contradicting here, but these are two people that I've kind of verbally agreed already that it's on the future, and that's Social Showdown. But that's going to be similar to this. It's going to be friendly, very friendly, because we're good friends. Social Showdown. Me and him are good mates, and that might probably be on an SCB card in the future. But we'll just see what happens with that. And Waffle, if he comes to the UK for the Jake, I want to make that, if we can get through all this, like SCB's taking off and stuff, which I think it's going to, and we can make more events in the future, I think me versus Waffle in the summer will be very good. And that's something he's agreed on. It just depends if he can come. But if he can come, he can come. If he can't make it, he can't make it. So we'll have to just see what happens. But there's not really anyone that's like I'm thinking you are the goal. Not really. It's just
Salt is my goal. That's who I'm after. I want a showdown with Salt Puppy.
Now I was chatting with Salt Puppy ages ago. I was going to spar him actually. Did you know?
No, I didn't know.
Time ago. It was my fight was back in like April, like ages ago, and it was before the build up when I was building up to that. He was obviously on Showstar, wasn't he? And we beefed a bit on Twitter, so to try and get his attention. Then we were talking about sparring. But then when obviously Showstar happened, then my fight happened, then exams hit. Then he had Misfits getting ready for Misfits and stuff. We spoke recently. He's really nice. Don't get me wrong. I've got nothing bad to say about him. But we basically agreed that it just doesn't make sense because he's in a professional camp. He's got no time for me. Like that's completely fair. I've not got that much of an ego where it's his career. At the end of the day, that's what he's training. He's serious. He's keeping it all locked into his camp. Like he doesn't want any leaks or anything like that.
He's done well.
He's done very well.
He's lost a lot of weight. He's got into some good shape. His footwork is really good. To be fair to him, I've got to give him credit where credit's due. His upper body work leaves a lot to be desired, though. He leaves himself open a lot. His jabs, he always leaves his arm down, his shoulders down, his elbow always comes out like this, which obviously, as you know, you don't put your elbow locked.
So what I like here, though, something I want to take note of here, I like the way you guys are analyzing other people. Do you predict some technicality in the ring? People want to know what this fight's about. There's a lot of people who predict this to be a brawl, like who hits harder, who drops first. Do you guys think you're going to be, like you said, cool, calm, and collective? I mean, what do you think happens when that first shot lands?
Well, that's the game plan, isn't it? Everyone wants to be cool, calm, and collected. So the fire starts. Let's be real. Like, I personally think this can kind of go in my game plan. It's, as Dan said before, it's experience versus youth, isn't it? Really, when it comes down to it. And like, use your noggins. How do you think how the strategies are going to play in to that? It just depends. He could, for all we know, he could just start me in the first round. We don't know. I could surprise him. We don't know.
Only time will tell on that one.
Yeah.
It would be great.
Can't reveal too much from what we're planning.
I think regardless of what we see, regardless of, the technical order of the bout, I think it's going to be a good fight. And I think that's what people decided whenever we were thinking of who's going to main kit this, who are we putting at the main event? And we trust that. And I think everybody trusts that you guys are going to put on a good show ending performance.
The two most experienced fighters, technically, isn't it? I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the main event as well.
We've got a lot of people on this undercard who, there's looking like there's a lot of underrated fights here. I mean, if we just go through here and look at the fight poster, I mean, for started the fight you mentioned, we've got Jones and we've got Vela, I believe is his name. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Jones being the guy you were talking about not too long ago.
Is that the big fella?
Ever set one, yeah. And we've got Jay versus Bell. If you guys remember Jay, he's been coming into the community very recently, showed some bag work. People liked what they saw. They put him on immediately. I mean, we've got Finn in his fight. And like you said, Jallum, I mean, this is going to be I think that it's going to be a pretty loaded with entertaining fights. I mean, you guys got a responsibility ahead of you. You've got to make it work. You know, you got to be that.
We've got to perform. We've got to perform.
You got to perform, man.
Because perform.
That's it.
What I can promise you guys.
I've been in a few fights, you see, so I'm used to being that cool, calm, collected person in the ring, picking my punches and taking punches and covering up when I need to, waiting for the chance instead of just going all out in the first round.
Because what I can promise you guys is people may not know these names now. You may not have heard of a lot of these guys. You know, you might not know your Fez or your Hallums or your Jays or your Bells. You might not know these guys, but what I can promise you is after January, I believe 7th, right? Is it January 7th or January 14th?
Yep.
After 7th. January, you guys will know these names. I can promise you guys, the community will know these names. They will make their breakout performances. And then you guys have huge responsibility to do the exact same. And that's what's fun about
this. Make sure you turn up and put on a good show, man. That's it.
This is going to be, I think this will be the small creator's biggest sleeper card. And really, it's the first small creator card that we've had that I can think of where it had more than 2 or 3 fights on it. So, I mean, you guys are really starting something here. You know, and you've got a lot of support from the OGs. I mean, we talk about Waffle and we talk about Pat and Trey and Dennis and all these guys, and they're in your corner. I mean, we've got, you know, Waffle, who may potentially in the future be working with SCB. We've got Dennis signed to SCB, Trey, a former SCB fighter. These are all people who made their rounds through this. They understand, they value SCB like they should and like you guys have. And the difference is you guys stepped in, you guys will be fighting. And you guys are hopefully going to make United Kingdom proud for, you know, you guys over there. You know, show us Americans up. Right, you've got a lot to prove, man. You know?
Dan will understand it's coming home. It's coming home. Box is coming home.
I wish I had your optimism, bro, but that ain't coming home in our lifetime, bro. Not a chance, mate. Not a chance.
So I know one thing's for sure. People need to tune into the press conference. Even this sounds like I'm underselling our fight. I'm not. You need to tune into it. Me and Dan are just all right. Me and Dan are going to be sat there at the press conference, cracking open a cold bomb, watching the carnage unfold. You need to watch this press conference because everyone at each other.
Yeah, some of these guys have some heat. You know, I'm jealous that I didn't get to face some of these other guys today. You know, I mean, I'm glad that I got the cream of the crop with you two, but man, I'll tell you what, I would have loved to sit there and listen to some of these guys chirp, man. It would have been.
But you were hoping we were going to be at each other. You were praying for it.
But look, guys, I don't want to give Kazi too much work to do, so let's just do this. Guys, I'm going to ask the same question to both of you, and then I think we're pretty much good there unless you have anything else you want to say. But first, Jallum, I want to ask you this. Your final words to Dan, arguably the most menacing of all the words you can say to him, right? I want this to be your direct line to him. No hate, no negativity, with the understanding this is just, you're getting away with it now. You get a pass. Say your shit to Dan right now. I want to hear what you have to say, and Dan, you get to come back.
Dan, get ready for some heat. That's all I'm going to say. There is some heat, and we'll put on a good show, my friend. We will.
It's fucking right as well, bro.
And Dan?
Yeah, make sure you train hard, bro, because I ain't taking this lightly. I'm going to go in there fully trained. I'm going there for the win, mate. I'm going there for the win, bro.
You heard him, man. Jallum brings the gas, you bring the fire. You know, we're going to make this, it's going to be a barn burner, guys. So absolutely. So look, guys, I'm excited to see the fight. You know, I hate that I can't be there. Obviously, I don't have the money to just.
You'll be there in spirit, brother. You'll be there.
I'll be there in spirit. Weeks is everywhere, man. But hey, I look forward to doing some more of this. We're going to be doing some tweet beefs leading up to the fight. Obviously, we've got a few months before we have to worry about that. But, you know, we're going to get alive and you get to do this live in front of plenty of people. We'll talk more about that later. It's going to be great. I mean, I think the promo for Fight Week is going to be above and beyond what we've been doing in the past, and we're going to move forward. You're going to have a lot of good people there to listen. We'll invite some guests on. You can get to meet these guys, Dan. You can meet Waffle, Pat, all these people we've been bringing their names up.
Be good.
Get yourself intermingled with the community, man. It'd be great. But guys, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry we had to do it real short. I just, I want to make sure that you guys leave as much of it in the ring as you can. I'd hate to milk you now and, you forget the gasoline and you forget the lighter, right? That'd be horrible.
I've got a wife to milk me, mate. You don't need to milk me.
Absolutely, man.
Well said.
Well,
Well
hopefully
said.
you have your retention up to the ring, so you've got that adrenaline in you. We'll see.
Oh,
Tell,
yes,
her to lay off, tell her to lay off a few weeks before the fight. You know.
it's 4 days is the 4 days is about the longest, mate.
Oh
It's
man.
It's no November. What are you doing?
Yeah, you got.
I've
Take
already fucked up about 3
November's
times.
training month, baby. You know, she needs to keep her hands off you.
How can she? Look, you seen how fucking godlike I am.
We gotta
When I say
relate.
godlike, I
Kratos.
mean fucking Buddha. I mean the god of Buddha, mate. That's what I'm on about.
God of Buddha.
Hey, you know what they say, man? We do No Nut November and Jackless January for you guys. Well, you know what? I don't see another perfect way to end that. You know, why not? Guys, thank you for coming on. We're doing this for the SCB card. I can't wait. If you got anything else you'd like to say, now would be the time. If not, thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
Good luck tomorrow, mate. That's not a malicious way. That's serious.
Absolutely. Good luck tomorrow.
Appreciate it.
Dan, I think even Jallum hopes you come out on top tomorrow, man. You want
Oh
to
yeah,
have as
100%.
best as possible.
I'll be supporting him the same way, mate. If he was in a fight tomorrow, it's 100%.
Champion.
All right,
Champion.
guys.